This sealed door in India is said to guard unimaginable treasure. Hidden deep inside the Padmanabhaswamy temple, this ancient door, Vault B, has never been opened. Legends claim it's protected by a serpent curse, and behind it lies trillions in gold.
Or being chased by a helicopter.
Hey, mister, what is that? Misty! What in there? I'm recording it. What the hell is that? I have no idea.
The Book of Enoch describes this perfectly. And this book was left out of the Bible on purpose from our predecessors, but it describes the angels coming down and cutting all these giant trees down to flood out the Nephilim, the giants, these beings that stretched 4,500 feet tall. These trees would reach the heavens, and that's why you always see the flat mountaintops, because these were massive trees way back in the day. Giant trees. This was a much bigger realm, and they came and they cut all this down because they wanted to get rid of the Nephilim. They wanted to get rid of the giants. It is said that there's about 200 of these trees that were cut down, and if you take a look around, that's pretty accurate. There could be even more, but the evidence is right in front of your face. And when you cut a tree down, water will start pouring out from the trees, but it's as above, so below. The water's above the firmament. This is where all the flooding came in. It was right after they cut the trees down was when we experienced this massive flood, and it wiped out all of the giants, all of the Nephilim. And this was mentioned again in the Book of Enoch, and they left it out on purpose, guys. Like, they left this shit out on purpose because they don't want you to know the real origins of humanity and our true history. But the truth is always in plain sight. Peace and love.
Sun is electric, the moon is magnetic. Sun is positively charged, giving you energy. The moon is negatively charged, taking away your energy. The sun and moon are the yin and yang moving around the magnetic North Pole. It's called the North Pole because it's a pole of electromagnetic energy. Above the North Pole is Polaris, the center star. The 7 planets are the 7 days of creation. Monday for the moon, Sunday for the sun, Saturday for Saturn, Thursday for Thor, which is the god of Jupiter. Sky is a giant clock. Stars tell you the month of the year. The moon tells you the day of the month. The sun tells you the time of the day. They want you to think you're on a random ball in space. Stars are not physical. Earth, water, air, fire, ether. Ether is the gateway between the physical and the spiritual realm. Daytime, you're in your physical body. When you dream, you're in your astral body. Now you know why the ancients always show you paintings of people flying in the sky. Because this is all symbolic of people in the astral plane, in the higher dimensions above our head. They told you the planets were physical to hide these higher dimensions that you have access to.
Does anybody know what's happening? Do you guys know? Guys, this is crazy. Does anybody know what's happening? Do you guys know? Holy crap. Holy crap, it's like a light show. It's all over the place. This is out of control. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. What is happening? Am I going out of my mind, or are all the stars moving? This is the coolest thing. This is the coolest thing.
Things I find most striking is the presence of Antarctica on ancient maps, because we didn't discover it until 1820, and yet it's on maps drawn in the 1500s with great detail, which again were based on much older source maps that have now been lost to us. The astonishing thing is the so-called Pinkerton world map. It just shows a hole where Antarctica is. A Wolsey-Wooler world map drawn in 1530 or thereabouts, you find Antarctica is present. Orontius Phineas map. That map shows Antarctica exactly where it should be. There's Antarctica at the tip of South America, just south of South Africa.
And what did they call it back then?
Well, they call it the Southern Land. And it's larger than it is today, but it was larger than it is today during the Ice Age. Antarctica was a much bigger. Now, what the fuck is it doing on a map drawn in the 1500s, which we know was based on older source maps when nobody knew it existed in the 1500s? To me, the obvious answer is we are dealing with the fingerprints of a lost civilization.
No se mueve, ni aire lo mueve, nada.
¿Un globo o un ovni?
Pues parece ovni la fregadera esa.
Está raro porque aquí está la pirámide, la del aeropuerto. Sería mucho mamá que fuera un ovni.
No se mueve nada. O sea, si fuera basura o algo. Bueno, que sea una casa de campaña. Las de color. Está dando color.
The moon is the hollow spaceship that was brought here from some part of the galaxy.
Ancient records from cultures like the Greeks, Romans, Zulu, and Muisca describe a time when the moon did not exist, challenging the belief that it has been in orbit for 4.5 billion years. The Arcadian proselynes even claimed their ancestors lived before the moon appeared. If true, this would mean Earth's history is not as we've been told. Apollo missions added to the mystery when seismic tests revealed that the moon rang like a bell for hours after impact, suggesting a hollow or metallic interior. Even its placement is bizarre. It is the only moon in the solar system that perfectly eclipses the Sun, has a nearly circular orbit, and is far too large relative to Earth's size. The moon's surface also contains unnatural amounts of metals like titanium and uranium, while craters appear oddly shallow, as if something beneath prevents deeper impacts. Mainstream origin theories fail. Lunar rocks are older than Earth itself, and no model fully explains how it got there. Strange lights, unexplained radio signals, and alleged artificial structures photographed by Apollo missions only deepen the mystery. Some ancient myths even claim the moon was placed in orbit, linking its sudden arrival to global floods. If early civilizations remembered a sky without it, did the moon arrive in human history? And if so, who or what put it there?
Man, everybody's too busy looking out to space for aliens, and we forget we've got it at home, baby. Okay, this is rhythmic photosynthesis patterns seen in satellite data showing daily and seasonal cycles of plant activity. These patterns, driven by sunlight and temperature, create a pulsing effect when visualized, symbolizing the Earth's dynamic biosphere, mate. Incredible. I don't even care if people are going to sit there and go, oh, everything's so basic and linear, nothing exists further than what we can see it. Bro, everything is so interlinked. Frequencies, emotions, just reality itself from top to bottom, left, right, forwards and backwards, man. Everything is so interlinked. And for people to sit there and go, oh, things like magic doesn't exist. Bro, the fact that me and you and everyone exists right now is just incredible. From the fact that the universe decided to explode, the sun's exploded, matter all congealed together, and all this matter decided to kind of look and become alive and ponder itself. That in itself is magic, man. Incredible.
This girl dips her hand into water of the same temperature, at which Titanic passengers were drowning, and she was able to hold it there only 8 seconds. This water was specially collected from the very place where the Titanic sank and is on display in a museum dedicated to the ship. And in this unique museum, with the help of modern technologies, you, in the literal sense, will be able to feel what the Titanic passengers experienced. But the main exhibit is this bucket of water, and if you can keep your hand in it for at least 2 minutes, then you will be paid $10,000. But almost no one can keep their hand in this icy water for even 20 seconds. And now imagine what experienced people, who hours waited for help after that Titanic went to the bottom. Obviously, that most of them did not endure in this water even 15 minutes and simply froze. But the most frightening, that at the crash site of the Titanic, mysterious events are still happening. For example, there every 6 years comes mysterious signal SOS, the same one that was sent on that fateful night more than 100 years ago, as if the passengers of the Titanic were calling for help. But when the rescue vessel arrived at the location of the signal, it found nothing but except endless Atlantic Ocean. By the way, in TikTok recently uploaded video recording made on Titanic when it was sinking, and you can see it yourself, typing in search last minutes of Titanic.
At the time of their construction, the Great Pyramids of Giza were gleaming monuments of white limestone, polished to a smooth finish that would have reflected the sun's rays, making them visible from miles away. The largest of these, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, originally stood at about 481 feet tall and was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. The traditional view holds that the pyramids were built by the ancient Egyptians during the 4th dynasty around 4,500 years ago. However, some alternative theories suggest that the pyramids were actually constructed long before the rise of ancient Egyptian civilization, potentially by a lost civilization with advanced knowledge and technology. Proponents of this theory argue that the precision and scale of the pyramids exceed the known capabilities of the ancient Egyptians. Theories about their construction abound, given the complexity and precision required. The most widely accepted theory suggests that massive blocks of stone were transported from nearby quarries and then dragged up ramps to their final positions. However, other theories have emerged, including the intriguing water hydraulic theory, which proposes that the builders may have used water to create buoyancy. floating the massive stones into position via canals or by creating a form of water elevator. This theory hinges on the idea that these ancient builders had sophisticated knowledge of water engineering. Another interesting theory is the internal spiral ramp hypothesis, which suggests that ramps within the pyramid were used to move the stones up as the pyramid rose, hidden from view. Aside from their mysterious construction, the pyramids are also aligned with the cardinal points with remarkable accuracy, and the Great Pyramid is almost perfectly oriented to the north. Inside, the Great Pyramid's king's chamber is constructed with enormous granite blocks weighing up to 80 tons, sourced from quarries hundreds of miles away in Aswan. The exact methods used to transport these blocks remain a mystery. These pyramids were not just tombs, they were part of a larger complex that included temples, smaller pyramids and causeways, symbolizing the pharaoh's divine journey to the afterlife. Despite being over 4,500 years old, the Great Pyramids continue to captivate and puzzle scholars, engineers, and tourists alike.
Ones behind the whole drone incursion. So, let me read you something here real quick. A big up to UFO Matt around the world for cluing us in. A private company at a high-powered army conference demonstrated a unique aircraft at the event, which is the one that's flying here. Allegedly took responsibility for setting off last year's drone and UFO pandemonium in New Jersey, a source told the Post. And by quote, they said, "You remember that big UFO scare in New Jersey last year? Well, that was us." An employee of the unnamed contractor claimed to a small group of demonstrators, according to the source, who is invited to the summit. The company was in the air over the Garden State in November 2024 to test out their capabilities. The contractor's employee claimed to the source, adding that they were not required to disclose their activity to the public because of a private government contract. In the video provided, the Post, the roughly 20 foot across four-winged flyer zooms through the skies just above the tree line, drawing the attention of dozens of soldiers on the ground. Now, here's footage from the New Jersey drone incursions. Does this look like this object that they're talking about, right? What do you guys think? I need to hear some of your guys' thoughts and information on this, and even the people that were on the ground that witnessed this, and let me know what you think, right? Does that look like the object in question? All of these things that I'm showing you right now were not showing up on flight radar, and these are completely off the logs. Again, let me know down below what you think. Disinformation campaign? Or the truth? I don't know. This photo of R2 Swan that's passed Earth. Absolutely phenomenal, right? Now, let's look at 3i Atlas and see how it compares. Do you notice something? A lack of, if you will, right? There's not really much of tail going on there, and you may ask why, right? Let's get an even closer look at this object. It's more so a ghostly dust plume that we're seeing here, right? Very strange. 3i Atlas is around 2.5 astronomical units from the sun, and if it was R2 Swan, which was in the same location to 3i Atlas, R2 Swan's cometary tail would still be very pronounced, unlike 3i Atlas. And you may ask why. Well, from observations, the R2 Swan is basically classed a dirty snowball, so it's like water, rock and dust particles which basically ignite and produce a beautiful tail, unlike 3i Atlas. R2 Swan has a far bigger nucleus than 3i Atlas, so there's a bigger surface area that could heat up with sunlight, which would then expel all these gases, and it's been made in our solar system, unlike 3i Atlas, which was made in a completely different location that we don't quite understand. And 3i Atlas has had, well, millions and millions of years of being exposed to cosmic rays and stellar radiation, which is basically that can form a crust of refractory material, carbon-rich, tar-like compounds that seals the volatile ices underneath. So it's probably why it's not expelling so much gas that we've been seeing with R2 Swan, and it's why it's a major interesting object to observe, but it's still on a trajectory towards the sun, and it's only going to heat up, so hopefully we might see more information and visual evidence that this thing is a comet, but I don't know, bro. All we can do is follow the information that is being given to us, but there's still a lot going on with this object that makes you scratch your head, mate, and I'm glued to this.
Does anybody know what's happening? Do you guys know? Holy crap. Holy crap, it's like...
Oh, crazy.
Had the opportunity over the years to interview, again, people who have worked at the test site at Groom Lake. One gentleman spent 12 of his 30 years in black programs at Groom Lake. When I asked him, I said, first of all, I said, do you believe in UFOs? And he looked at me with a straight face in one-on-one. He said, absolutely, positively, they do exist. I said, can you expand upon that? He said, no, I can't. About a year later, we were talking about, again, activities at Groom Lake. And I asked him, I said, you know, can you really tell me what's happening out there? And he said, well, there's a lot of things that are going on there that I won't be able to tell you until the year 2025. But we have things in the Nevada desert that would make George Lucas envy.
Brazil just made an absolute boss move in UFO transparency and dropped the receipts on nearly 900 UFO cases. This is huge. So on May 31st, Brazil's National Archives released 893 UFO cases to be exact to the public. And we're talking about sightings from 1952 all the way up to 2023, complete with photos, audio recordings, witness drawings, detailed official reports. The files were originally set to drop on June 13th, but they went live early with no warning. And there's some seriously amazing stuff inside. So I've only cracked into it just a touch, and already it's mind-blowing. It talks about cases like the 1977 Colares incident, where locals were reportedly injured by beams of light coming from low-flying UFOs it was so intense that the Brazilian military launched Operação Prato, Operation Saucer, to investigate. There's also the 1986 Night of the UFOs, where 21 objects were spotted across southern Brazil, tracked on radar and chased by Air Force jets. So if you want to check it out yourself, there's a website you can go to. I'll list it right here. You'll need to register, but the docs are public. A lot of it's in Portuguese, but you can get it translated. Brazil just raised the bar. It's your move, Pentagon. Follow for more, because I'm going to be cracking into this.
Remember to go outside and look up this weekend so you don't miss this cosmic event. The Orionids is one of the most dazzling meteor showers of the year. It will be visible all across America and peaks during the late night of Saturday, October 21st into the early morning hours of Sunday, October 22nd. Viewers in dark skies away from light pollution can anticipate rates of up to 20 meteors per hour. The Orionids is known for producing fireballs and fast-moving meteors with persistent trains, which are ionized gas trails that last for a few seconds after the meteor is gone. The meteors will appear in all parts of the sky but radiate from the Orion constellation, which ascends from the southeast after midnight. This is when the shower will be at its best. Orionids meteors occur when Earth passes through bits of ice and rock left behind by Halley's Comet. The Orionids happen every year around this time.
Hey everybody, we've got some breaking news. So the man known as Victor, who allegedly leaked one of the most controversial and mysterious pieces of UFO related footage ever, known as the alien interview, has just been doxxed. So according to UFO researcher and filmmaker Jon Stewart, the alien interview video is authentic. And Victor, the man who leaked it from Area 51, his real name is Stanton John Willett. Check this out.
I consulted a military insider with access to the Groom Lake entry log, who confirmed to me that an individual named Stanton John Willett was present at the base at a time between 1977 to 1991. This revelation marks a turning point in the alien interview investigation, bringing us closer than ever to uncovering finally, after 30 years, the full truth about Victor's identity and the oranges of this footage. The pieces are finally coming together, and we remain committed to exposing the reality behind one of the most controversial and significant UFO-related leaks in American history.
So if this is actually a legitimate video of a real alien being, the implications are monumental. Let me know what you think.